Today we go behind the taps at Veracious Brewing in Monroe, Connecticut, where owners Tess and Mark Samatulski regularly offer up almost 20 different beers on a regular basis. Opened in 2015, Veracious quickly gained both critical and customer acclaim, even earning a spot in Beer Advocate's Best New Breweries of 2015. The Samatulskis have been brewing beer for 30 years, beginning as homebrewers in 1988. They found it was difficult to locate and buy homebrewing supplies, so they began the Maltose Express homebrew supply business out of their home in 1990.
So that was 88?
88 I started brewing, 89 we started selling out of our house, 90, 91 we started a store.
And the reason why we started brewing is Mark was an engineer and he always wanted to brew, and he had a couple of people that brewed at Northrop Grumman where he worked. And I was a caterer and I used like high-end beers in my catering. So he would brew the beer, I would use it in my catering, and then from there it just was, you know, he couldn't get good supplies, and that's why we started it.
Wow.
Throughout the years, Maltose Express has served as an incubator for some of the terrific breweries popping up all over Connecticut.
There's 65 breweries in Connecticut. Probably 30 of those breweries used to buy supplies from us. So we
lost 30 customers.
30 of our best customers in the last 3 years. And some of them continue to buy a few things as they are breweries that they can't get. So we did a little more business that way, but we've lost like 30 of our best customers in the last year because they became either brewers or started breweries.
And so they're buying
They buy
in bulk, yeah.
But winemaking.
They started here.
They started here, yeah.
Some started with our class, just like you did.
Yeah,
So
which
it's
is pretty
quite
cool,
amazing.
you know?
No,
Yeah.
that's great.
Tess and Mark still have a passion for homebrewing and even teach a homebrewing class in the
To
store.
understand it, and that's what we do. When we have our homebrew classes, we brew a beer, we talk about hops and water and grains, pass things around and pass beers around so that you can see the process. And we brew a 5-gallon batch of beer, and then we second stage it, and this way people can see it and makes them more comfortable. Plus, we're here 7 days a week, so we're always here to answer questions, and we're just a phone call or an email away.
The Samatulskis have written 2 books for homebrewers, Clone Brews and Beer Captured. When asked how they developed the refined palate required to clone beers,
You drink a lot of beer.
People would come in and ask how to make a beer. And there was no information, there was no internet, there was no web pages, no Facebook pages, there was nothing, no information at all. So we would try the beer and try to make recipes for people. Sierra Nevada, Bass Ale, Newcastle, Guinness, those were the first 4. Sam Adams. And you try to get in some information, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't so good, but you'd eventually make a recipe that tasted like the original.
How many test batches?
Sometimes it took 1 or 2.
And sometimes it took 8.
Yeah, sometimes you do it once and say it's real close, it's a little too bitter, and you just change it.
Yeah.
But the reason for the books is if we didn't own a homebrew store, we couldn't have written the books because we have supplies, we brewed it again and again and again. And we would not put a beer in the book if it wasn't close.
Right.
I know there's one beer that I will never brew or drink again. It's Moonraker, because I had to do that 8 times till we get it. Yes. Yeah, so.
Well, luckily people come in here and drink it, so we had customers comparing it, and we had something to do with the beer.
Right, yeah.
So, but back then there was, like I said, there's no internet, there's no way to get beers. So when people traveled, we'd say, get beers and bring them back, please. Truck drivers, people on their honeymoons, we'd write letters to people in Africa and Japan and ask them
to
send some beer. Wow. The Nagomo Tomo pills, that came from Africa, and they sent us there, and we actually called Africa because you couldn't email or text at that point. You had to actually call. So they were very helpful. The importer, the distributors, and and they gave us the name of the people in Africa that made the beer. And we had,
Homebrews, we tried to do a beer from almost every country.
Okay.
And it was funny because in that book we only had 14 beers from the United States, because at the time, 1995, 96, the United States was okay at making beer.
Right.
When we did updated that in 2010, out of the 50 new beers, 47 were from the United States.
Wow.
So things have changed from us just being a lager producer. Now we make a lot of cutting edge beers.
Yeah.
So right now, America is the best country to get craft beer.
Wow.
Back then, it changed a lot.
Tess and Mark say that often the clone that you brew at home tastes better than the commercial beer.
And the thing is with beers, when you brew it in your homebrew kitchen, like let's say a beer comes from England, like a bitter. or an English pale ale. It comes across the pond, so it's going to lose a little bit of it. But when you brew it in your homebrew kitchen, you drink it fresh, like an English beer should be consumed, and it tastes even better sometimes than after it travels. Same thing in Germany, like a wheat beer that should be consumed fresh, but if it travels, it's not going to be as fresh as when you brew it. So that's why people say, "Oh my God, your clones were better than the original," and that's because they traveled. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you guys are like way ahead of your time, do you think?
Back then, yes. Back then, yes. So, you know, homebrew stores come and go and winemaking stores come and go, but we stuck it out through good times and hard times, and we're still here.